Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, this week my bikes are actually operational. I did finally get the Triumph Tiger, got its well, I bought a replacement tire for it. The recall is still up to whatever it's wanting to do. But yeah, that turned into a longer process than anticipated, so I apologize. I didn't get a video out last week due to my timing issues with all that. But today I thought it's supposed to rain all day long, and you can see some of the clouds loose in this direction. But I thought I would get out on the bike while it's still nice enough to ride and enjoy a little bit of being out. Taking the Valkyrie out today, which kind of sad it doesn't have the heated grips that the Tiger has, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, that's what this bike is, just an enjoyable older model. And go have fun and just not be complicated. Like, that's the whole reason I wanted this thing, is I didn't want complication other than the amount of carbs that are in this thing is going to be complicated when I have to work on that. But hey, that's a future problem that I get to learn and understand. But that's part of the enjoyment of this, to learn that part. But more about learning, like, so the missus decided she wants to learn more about her own riding abilities. So we go and practice slow speed maneuvers. She's taking a class for track days. She wants to do another class for that. But I realized that I myself should probably work on some of those U-turns and things like that. So I was actually debating if I wanted to make that a video for myself, seeing how the progression is of doing U-turns today versus doing U-turns in like a month of practicing. So it would be one of those ones where I just have to kind of clip art them all together and see how they continue. But I'd also have to figure out, do I want to set up a tripod, which I do have, and show myself doing the U-turn from that perspective, or would I want to do it from my helmet camera and show what it looks like from this perspective? But I guess the one idea I could have, if I do it from the perspective I'm sitting in right now, is that I could see what my RPMs are like, I could see what my speed is like, and I can see where my head is pointing depending on if I'm actually looking at those items or not. So, and then the handlebars, of course, you know, if I'm jumping back and forth. So it is an interesting concept of, do I want to sit there and do that in this perspective, and if I show myself turning my head back and looking at stuff, you know, where is that making me look and inevitably drive to? So it is a concept I might do for myself, and see if I actually put in the time and energy to do all that. How, if I progressed at all, or if I'm just emphasizing my own bad habits throughout the entire session of it, which is always possible too. So it's an idea. I was watching other people's videos, like Doodle did this a long time ago. She was giving herself challenges of, like, you know, picking up her motorcycle 100 times, which then caused her a little bit of extra muscle strain because of how many times she was doing it in a short amount of time. But she's also done all those other training classes, and it's just like, you know, are we all practicing enough? You know, yeah, we can go for a ride, you can go in a straight line, the bike wants to stay upright, so it's not like this is not a hard part. It's the, okay, I'm in a parking lot now and I need to do something, or if something were to come up, what am I instinctively doing in order to deal with a situation, in a last minute situation? So those are just things that I started to think about. It's like, well, like maybe I should practice that, and I could do it off camera easily enough. If I do it on camera though, I want it to be accountable to it, so you guys are going to sit there and see that. But the other issue though is then I don't really have time in my schedule for daylight for my job and do a U-turn channel or challenge. So that is another complication where it's like, okay, I could easily, on days I take my bike to work, I could do it in the parking lot, but I don't bring this helmet to work because this helmet has a shaded visor, and right now with this time of year I ride to work in the dark and I ride home in the dark, so I wouldn't want to have that visor on it. My normal helmet that I wear daily is a Neotech 2, and that one of course has the internal drop down visor, so I usually leave a clear shield on that one. So it's like, do I do the accountability, which then means if I do the so many days of challenges, am I only videoing it on my days off and still trying to do it on my days I work? Or am I just extending it and doing, you know, I want to do say 10 each direction every weekend for a month. And so I was trying to figure out how I want to produce that kind of scenario and results that it might come into. And then of course just, you know, your data life stuff is always going on too, so, you know, I just need to make sure I'm not interfering with other things in my life that I need to take care of, working on that part of my skill set, which is a very important skill set to have, you know, because the more comfort you have with any situation, the overall confidence you have on your bike and riding and getting into scenarios. So there is value to making sure I know those skills. Like a year or two ago, I took one of those classes for the I think it was Ride Like a Pro, and unfortunately, in my eyes, I did, you know, learn stuff from it, but as a rider taking a course, I feel like I failed it because I wasn't able to complete the activities that were given to me. And unfortunately, like that class I was in, none of us did, and I'm not sure if all of us just didn't feel, because we were all older, do we have that sense of fear of like, this is an expensive motorcycle, if I drop it, and the instructor's like, you've got crash bars on your bike, you know, things can happen, you'll probably drop it occasionally, you know, but that's why those scenarios are there, is to sit there and be able to pick your bike back up. And someone did drop their bike during the event, but the one thing was like, the guy that did drop his motorcycle, and I think he had a Road King, and luckily for him, he had taken off his saddlebags, because on his Road King, yes, he did have the engine guard protection like this thing has, but the saddlebags didn't have the bars on it. Like I had a Road King at the time also, and I was doing it, and like my Road King, my saddlebags had crash bars around it, and that was just the thing back in that era, was that because it was in 06 that you would have crash bars on your saddlebags. So luckily for him, he did take off his saddlebags before doing the classes, but he did drop his bike, and I'm like, that would have really messed up his saddlebags had he left those on there. So it was kind of like one of those, okay, well, yeah, it's gonna happen, things crash, things happen, but see, nowhere near where I should be. I'm in neutral and I shouldn't be. So that took me almost 3 car spaces to do a U-turn right now on this thing. The class was, he says, always keep your RPMs around 2,000. I didn't even really have my throttle on. As you probably just saw, I was turning my wheel back and forth. You know, that was very much not what the class was designed at. And yeah, so in the class, all of us failed the skills that we needed. Either we weren't learning them correctly. I can't say that the teacher wasn't teaching correctly, because I don't know. It was just one of those things where it's like it just didn't work out, unfortunately. So, but I do know what he said to us and like what it was, the meaning of it. So I need to take that knowledge and turn it into a skill. And I think that's what I need to work on. So the question is then will be also, do I do it on this bike, which is heavier but is lower to the ground, but the handlebars are a lot wider? Or do I do it on the Tiger, which is you're super high off the ground, but the handlebars are narrower? And so it's like, those are questions I need to figure out. Ideally, I think people say is do it on the bike that's harder to control, because then it's just, you have the skill then, and an easier to control bike would be, you should easily be able to do it then. But then it goes to the question is, which one's the harder to control bike? Like this one, I said, yeah, this one I could easily get my feet down. I could do stuff like that on it. Do I want to drop either bike? No, I don't. No one ever does. You know, unless you're a stunting person where you put even heavier crash protection on them. Yes, this bike and the Tiger both have engine guards on them. The question would be though is if I did drop, like this one, there's nothing protecting the back of it. And I know this bike has been dropped before where there's damage like even on here. So it's not like everything's going to be protected. You know, engine guard is literally just to protect the engine, not the rest of the bike. So I would feel horrible damaging this bike on that. However, I do need to learn the skill. So it goes back to the thing, I might just have to suck it up and just work on learning that skill so I'm more confident and then I don't drop the bike. Because that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, you don't want to drop it, you don't want to get injured, so learn how to control your shit. Oh, that storm looks like she might actually come in today. I thought it was already supposed to be raining by now. Maybe it's just in certain areas. But I think I might need to turn around so I don't get waterlogged out here. The question is, will my bike trigger this light or not? Well, I guess it did. Oh, yeah, red and the red. Go on. So yeah, those are thoughts I was doing is like, you know, my wife has been training on being more confident, doing U-turns, getting in and out of parking lots, basically the slow speed skills. We have done in the past where we took tennis balls, cut them in half, put them out in spacers every so many feet and did the whole S curve, which we did. I don't think we ever actually did the exaggerated S, which we should have probably gone into more, which would then in turn help with U-turn skills or the box stuff on MFS courses. So I think that's going to be my next challenge for myself. I just got to figure out when in my schedule I can work on that. And it wouldn't be my weekly video. I think what it would be is once I start doing that activities, I'll have to set up a video of it doing it and then just guys give you like a after the video or after the X amount of time has been completed update of it, and say like show like here's where I started at and here's where I ended at. So, but we'll see. There's always things in life that go on, so it's never an excuse. Just go out and do it, right? Alright, I give that guy a hard time for running the yellow. But yeah, I hope with this cold front storm that's been going through for everyone in the States, I hope everyone's being safe and have limited damages to things, or California being burnt to a crisp. Meanwhile, we're here in Arizona going, I could use some rain, please, because it has not rained here in months. So we're more afraid of what our summer's going to be like for our vegetation and fire and all that stuff too. So, but yeah, that's the story of my ideas lately. I'm debating on how to kind of retrieve that idea. I might do the challenge to myself on the Tiger, because the Tiger is the bike I do more riding with. This one is literally like my work in the garage bike and learn how to do things bike. So it's ridden, but not as much. Even though it, because it doesn't have all the ABS or, you know, and all the other electronic stuff in it. Might be a little bit more interesting to learn these skills on, because there is no anything but yourself to fall on for advancement. We'll see. Guess we'll find out in a month or two when I get that, if I get that going, and how well I do on it all. Well, it's definitely a beautifully lovely viewing day. A little bit of sunlight coming through the clouds. A little chilly though. Kind of wish I had my electric gloves for this one, but oh well. I really can't complain because I can ride right now. Oh, what a day. So yeah, you guys tell me what other ideas should I do for training if I do a U-turn challenge to myself. Oh, school in session. Is there a different challenge that'd be a good idea to work on after that if I do complete that one? Or instead of the figure S challenge, I guess the box one is that figure 8. Not sure I have the most ideal bikes for that, but that's again back to excuses and just suck it up and do it. I think I need to measure out what that actual spacing is and see how big the box truly is. Because I mean, technically, I could just, you know, either bike, put them on there where their steering lock is at, and see how far, and walk the bike and see how if it can actually work within the square. Because I mean, you can't change the wheelbase, so, and I'm not trying to do a foot down, spin the tire, and, you know, pivot itself kind of thing. Not into that stuff, so. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of go back to those old school MFS course classes that they used to teach, or they still teach. But between that and the, hey dude, come on. Come on. Alright. Yeah, there was in the one class I took, you know, it kind of goes along with the U-turns, is they called it the intersection. So it's, you go in, you turn right, you have to then do a U-turn within the box, do a U-turn to do a right-hand turn again to the next box, and you're just basically doing all of them in that. And that's where we all, like, the entire class just bombed on it. Like, none of us could get ourselves over the obstacle. I think getting past the first box is about as far as any of us really got. None of us made it through all 3 points, unfortunately. Which then turned into the last challenge that none of us even tried, was the snowman, where you did a circle and then you do a reverse circle on the next section, and then you go out again. But each time you did a circle, the next circle was smaller, and they did 3 different circles. So, I mean, the information is there. It's the bikes can do it. It's the rider. I gotta learn as the rider to do it myself. You know, become better at this, more confident. So it goes back to enjoying the ride that you're on, you know, and doing what you like to do. So, well, I guess, you know, I think that'll start with the U-turns or the S-turns, or the exaggerated S-turns. We're just going out farther. Hello. So, yeah, I think I'll try to figure out those, go from there. See what I come up with. Part of it also is like, I'm debating if I did put a different handlebars on the Road King. They were slightly more narrow. I almost wonder if I want to do that to these two, where they just come in just a little bit more. Like, this part's fine. I do feel like they're almost a little low. I kind of want to turn them a little bit. But, you know, again, it's an older bike, so finding the actual products. But there should be universal items that could probably work on it. So, things in the shop. So yeah, if you see things upgrade on the bike, just realize that's one of my hobbies now, is on this thing. This is my, get in the garage and work on and play with on my spare time, when I have spare time. So, starting to see little specks of water on my windshield. Well, I guess you guys can see if I do make changes to this thing. I'll keep quiet about it, and you guys can see if you can see them and call them out. But with that, I'm gonna turn off my system so it doesn't get wet. You guys be safe, have fun. Thanks for coming along. Till next time. Bye.